Doubles and coffee. Again, I'm going to give you an in-depth detailed analysis into why you must continue to reject the PMN Fake News Media across the board. The only reason when you wonder and you scratch your head whether you have hair or whether you're bald head like me, and you wonder but how this PMN has existed and maintained itself over the decades when they are the most corrupt party. The DNA of the PNM is oppression. They ride the backs of poor people. They use race card at every juncture. How come they just hang around like a bad rash? How come they just stick around like a virus, this PNM blight? And I put it to you, it's because of the PNM Fake News Media. Now, social media has arrived. And while you have to be very careful and check and see what you're listening to, who you're listening to, and why you're listening to them, the truth can get through. The truth travels a little bit faster now because of the advent of social media. Because if you have to rely upon Guardian Media Limited, who lost $14.5 million because of their lies, their pathology, their PNM propaganda that people just don't want. It's rejected. People have rejected the PNM. Landslide. Guardian Media making a loss. Landslide. And they don't understand why. Because the people are onto them. The people have figured out that the Guardian Media Limited is the guardian of PNM. And others, One Caribbean Media, Express, TV6, Newsday, all losing money. Because people are now aware of the truth. The truth travels a little faster. Let me give you another example. On Tuesday, I was shocked to see this Akash Samaru, who's now the lead political editor of Guardian Media Limited, CNC3 and Guardian, come out with an article stating that the PSA president and the PSA didn't really get a 10% offer. So I read it with great interest. I wanted to know what is this that he's talking about. So this Akash Samaru. And before I get into the analysis and all, I went through it in detail, right? Akash Samaru, I empathize with you. Being someone who has had a lot of success in disparate fields, whether national swimming record holder, national team, national football, Fatima College football, all my ones at O level, valedictorian, masters, top of the class, radio, TV, football commentator, Olympic commentator, writing columns, whatever it has been, I have had a great amount of success in anything that I do. So I empathize with somebody like you, Akash, who's not very skillful, doesn't have much wherewithal to them, is not very diligent, is not hardworking, and stumbled upon success through viral, unplanned, fluky situations. Akash, you became the most popular. The biggest thing you ever did was a total fluke. You happened to just ask Rowley some questions at one press conference, and Rowley's answers were so blithering, and you stuck it out. And for whatever reason, we never know exactly why a video goes viral. Your video went viral for hundreds of thousands of views, Akash. But then there's a problem. You keep searching for that little moment in time when you were successful. That little 15 minutes of fame. And you try to concoct it. You try to create scenarios to push it back there. You try to show the country that you are this impartial bastion of journalistic integrity when you're really a clown who's not very bright, Akash. I sat there in the first press conference that the Prime Minister held, and I saw you holding onto a microphone, holding it, while the Prime Minister spoke for 45 to 57 minutes, ready to jump into action, to grill Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, to show the world that you're not biased, that you didn't just embarrass Rowley, you came to embarrass Kamala too. And she hit you 2 slap and embarrassed you, and you went viral in the opposite direction. Now you work and have been promoted at an organization that is a PNM propaganda machine. So it's sad that you will search for that moment in time once again to repeat itself, for lightning to strike twice. Unfortunately, that's not how success is made. I'm talking to you as an Olympic coach. I forgot that. How could I forget that I'm Olympic medal winning coach, World Championship medal winning coach, Pan American gold, world record? I forgot all of that. You see, Akash, because it's not about me. I'm just letting you know as a coach, you're running down fame in the wrong way, when you should be focused on being diligent, searching for the truth, upholding the principles of journalistic integrity. So let me get into it now. Tuesday, all of a sudden, Akash Samaru, headline, no official 10% wage offer for PSA yet. Sources say. First red flag, bing-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Not Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa say, not Minister of Finance Dave Tanku say, not Minister of Planning and Development Kennedy Swarat Singh say, not CPO Dindyal say, not Acting CPO Wharton say, not PSA President Felicia Thomas say, none of that. Sources say, sorcery from Akash to create a story. Well, your Douglas going to read Akash fantasy now. So he goes on to say that he has been reliably informed, not from the Ministry of Finance, not from the Minister of Finance, not from the Cabinet, not from the Prime Minister, not from the PSA President, not from the CPO, not from the acting CPO, from some Akash source. And he created an article and said, it's a well-placed source. Well-placed where? Up in your K-Pax, Akash? Nobody cares. This is the nonsense that they write. He then goes on to say, now, that that Akash creates and talks about the contents of the letter that the PSA president went to a meeting, got a letter with English words. He ain't get the letter and read it, He ain't get the letter and analyze it. He ain't source, give him a copy of the letter, for him to read in plain English. But here what he start to analyze, something that he ain't have. So he says the contents of the letter, says his source, do not constitute an official offer. So Akash is now going to tell us, the population, what constitutes an official offer. Even though the government, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, budget debate, the PSA President, Minister of Planning, everybody say 10% for the two periods, 2014 to 2016 and 2017 to 2019, as opposed to Coleman Butt's initial offer of 2%, 001 for 2014 to 16 and 001 for 2017 to 19. And then Coleman went high now. He went to 4%, 002% for 2014, 2016 and 002% for 2017, 2019. Akash decides that after all this official information about 10%, that he and he reliable source decide they ain't get no offer yet. He's reliably informed. This printed in Guardian, this printed, this put on TV, CNC3, this utter total nonsense from an idiot, called Akash Samaru. But go ahead, we'll continue. So Akash says the letter states, it has been agreed. 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 I don't know. English was one of my best subjects, but it has been agreed. That means two parties agree. Okay. The CPO will propose a 10% salary increase for two periods, 2014 to 2016, but 2017 to 2019. So Akash now have to interpret English for us in his own Akash mind. Let's see what he does. His analysis says, this official letter is different from an official offer. So Akash now trying to say what on paper is an official offer as opposed to what? Just an offer in the breeze? An offer on top of the doubles with the sliced pepper? What, Akash, is your analysis since your decades of involvement in wage negotiations and labor movement and so on? This is printed in a newspaper, He said, the official offer, which would show a spread of 10%. Really? An offer, for those of you who understand English, an offer could be made two parties. They're going to negotiate anything. Selling a car, buying a phone. We're going to get married. We're going to do a prenuptial, whatever. You make an offer or I make an offer. You read and listen to the offer. You either agree one time and you accept, or you say, nah, that's nonsense. Let me make a counter offer, a counter proposal. Then you now read the counter proposal, and that's how negotiation, that's called negotiation. But Akash said that the letter didn't show the actual spread of the 10%. He said it had 10%, but it showed the spread. But he didn't know about the spread like Blue Band on bread with the PNM 2%, and then the PNM 4%. And then when Colmimbert had lied and ball, but we had 9%, 4%, and 5% when he lied. Akash didn't go and investigate and say, Colmimbert, you lie. Look the document here. Look the court documents with statements showing that it was only 4% for the whole 6-year period. Akash never did a story about that. This clown called Akash. But he coming now to try to tell us that the offer that the PSA get wasn't really an offer, because in his mind and the reliable source of the Guardian Media Limited, the offer didn't constitute a real offer. So then he goes now and he finds Clyde Weatherhead. Yes, Clyde Weatherhead, former Labour Union PSA president and so on. And when you read what Clyde Weatherhead said, Clyde Weatherhead was quite clear that an offer could come either way, either from the CPO or initially from the PSA. So Akash said that, oh, the offer must come first from the PSA. Clyde didn't say that, but let's go with Akash's interpretation. Akash says, based on this now in November, that the PSA didn't put in a proposal, and therefore the letter from the CPO could not be a counter proposal or anything official because the PSA didn't put it in first. That's in the mind of Akash, and that's, for me to get into the mind of a dunce, it's very difficult. I hope you all appreciate the effort that I am doing here on Doubles and Coffee this morning. Hey, Akash, dum-dum, this negotiation has been commenced for years. Since 2018, since 2019, since 2020, 2021, it was put in court in 2023. So the initial proposal was put in there. This is an ongoing, sources say, ongoing negotiation, you blithering idiot Akash Samaru. Looking for article, looking for thing to write. So therefore your entire point is moot. Not that it really needed me to dissect it and decimate it, but it's stupid. He continued. So Akash interprets what Clyde Weatherhead states as an offer, counter offer, acceptance, either way. That's what Mr. Weatherhead said. It could go either way, and that's how it goes. But Akash interprets it as PSA usually proposes first. Well, Akash, they did propose long ago. And then Colm came with a ridiculous counter offer of 001. And then the PSA counter offered Colm, go and scratch and go up and play with your little man. That's what the PSA told him. Yeah, you didn't know that? Paramin? Hey, Kurt, how you going, boy? Colm said to tell you hello. A special hello to you, Kurt. How you going up in Paramin? Colm, but tell me. Yeah, I see many Paramin yesterday. He told me to tell you a special hello, Kurt. Anyway, I digress. Then, when the PSA rejected that, Colmimbert came back through the CPO with a 002 Akash. And then the PSA said again, no, Colm, we're not taking that. Stop pointing at us. We go cuff you down. Go and tell Kurt hello. Find your little man. That's what the PSA told him. And Colm said, y'all are telling me about finding my little man? No. All you are going in court. And he went in court. So that's what took place. Now, today, we get another article from Akash. After his stupidity, but he put it quite on page 8 now hiding it, saying, wage talks begin today amid dispute over 10%. No dispute, no dispute between the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, Minister of Planning, the Cabinet, the CPO, the acting CPO, the PSA. No dispute. The dispute in the mind of Akash, and he using Guardian Media Limited to create a dispute to discuss whether money will come by Christmas. Who knows whether it will come by Christmas? But the money will come. 10% is there. Promise made, promise kept. Akash, you're dunce.